Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. A while ago I mentioned that I would be doing a video demonstrating how to use the AI masking that is in PhotoLab 9. That's what we're going to be doing today. If you're not familiar with PhotoLab 9, it is a Lightroom alternative. As a matter of fact, it's a rather robust Lightroom alternative. So if you're looking to break out of the Adobe ecosystem, PhotoLab 9 is something you definitely should consider. In the description below this video, I'll have a link to their website. They have a fully working 30-day free trial that you could try out to see if PhotoLab 9 is right for you. Now, as you can see, I have PhotoLab 9 open. Before I demonstrate how to use the AI masking, I want to mention something very quickly. When I first tried to use AI masking in PhotoLab 9, it didn't work at all. It couldn't find anything in my image. Now, I'm specifically working with an iMac with Apple silicone, so it may be just unique to my type of computer, but I'm going to show you what you need to do to get it to work because maybe it does affect some Windows computers as well. There's a setting you need to change in Preferences. Now, on a Mac, Preferences is under the DxO PhotoLab 9 menu. It's actually called Settings. On a PC, it's called Edit, and I believe on a PC, it's called Preferences. Either way, go to Settings or Preferences, then go to the last tab, Advanced. And then down here, this AI acceleration, by default on my computer, it was on auto selection. It didn't work at all. So what I did is I tried the Apple Neural Engine. Now, of course, if you have a PC, you won't have that option, but you'll have a different graphics card. And you'll have some type of option there. Try it. You'll have to shut PhotoLab 9 down and reopen it in order for the changes to take effect, and then see if AI masking is working. If it still isn't, try another option. I went through all of them until I got to CPU only. When I got there, it worked perfectly. Again, you're going to have to shut PhotoLab 9 down, reopen it in order for these changes to take effect. Now, with that, let me show you how to use AI masking. We're going to start out on this image. I did some global adjustments to this image already. I did the selective tone, DxO Smart Lighting in this Clearview Plus. I also straightened the image a little bit. It was a bit crooked. Now, the AI masking is a local adjustment. Now, you'll notice along the top, we have these different adjustment panels. We have light, we have color, we have detail, we have geometry, we have effects. And then finally, we have local adjustments. If you click on that, all your masks will show up in this box. Obviously, I don't have any. And you could add all different types of masks. You don't need to add an AI mask. You could add a brush or an auto brush or a hue mask or a linear gradient and so on. The AI masking is this far left one, or the first one if you're going left to right. Click on that. As soon as you do, you'll notice at the bottom this bar appears, and you have some options down here for different types of masks or different types of AI masks you could use. What you should try first is to see if it has a pre-configured AI mask. To do that, click this little drop down, and you'll notice we have options for clothes, faces, hair, vehicles, flowers, animals, people, background, subject, and sky. This scene obviously has a sky, and you can see as I hover over the word sky, I have a red overlay on the sky. Click on that, and it will automatically build a mask for the sky, and you can see it showing up right here. To do an adjustment, just go below, and you could do any of these adjustments to the sky. Now, specifically for this image, I want to increase saturation. I want to add contrast, and maybe some micro contrast as well. Now I want to add another mask. Now, unfortunately, the pre-configured dropdown doesn't have anything else that is in the scene. There's no people, there's no hair, faces, flowers, vehicles. But there are other ways to create a mask. Over here, you'll see the different modes. We have add a selection, subtract from a selection, or remove from a selection. Let's go to this add selection. When we click on that, we'll get a little plus sign. And if I hover over something like the water, you can see I have a selection of the water. I'll have a selection of the building, have a selection of the grass. Let's do an adjustment to the water. So click on that, and now you notice that I have a red overlay on the water. And if I go up here, you can see that this is now called Mask 2. Now I could change the name here. You can see this one says AI Mask Skies. So I know that one's for the sky, but I may not, if I add a bunch of masks, not know what each mask is. So to name this, just double click on where it says AI Mask, and we're going to put water. So this is my water adjustment. And for here, I want to make it a bit brighter and then add some contrast, let's say. All right, let's add another mask. We're going to do it in the same fashion where I'm just going to add a selection, and we're going to go up here on the building. Now, you notice if I move my cursor around, I could get like a little sliver of the building or just kind of parts of the building. I want to get as much of the building as possible. So right about there, click with the left mouse button. Now I have this mask 3. I'm going to double click there, and I'm going to call it building. But let's say that I want to add to this. See this wall right here? I want to add that to it as well. If I just click on that wall, it won't add it to the buildings. For example, if I just click on it, you could see it created a whole new mask, mask 4. I don't want that. So I'm going to undo that. Command Z to undo it. So we're back on the building. But like, for example, if I just click on this grass, it's not adding it to this building mask. It's creating an entirely new mask. I don't want that. Again, I want to add to this mask. In order to do that, you'll notice that down here we have different options for the masks. We could add a new mask, or right next to that, we're going to add a new submask. When you want to add to a mask, you're going to create a submask. The submask will be part of the original mask. So click on that, and we could use any of these tools to add it. I'm going to stay with this Add Selection tool, and we'll click on this little chunk of wall. And you can see that it's right there. So I could double click on this and call it wall. All right, so we now have this mask 3, which is the wall and the building. And if I do an adjustment, say micro contrast, it'll affect everything. Let's see. I don't know if you could see it real well, but if I take, let's say, exposure up, you can see it's affecting not only the building, but the wall as well. So we're adding some micro contrast to the building. All right, let's do one more mask to the grass, because there's an adjustment I often do to grass. And I'm going to still stay with this add a selection method of creating the mask. So I'm going to click on the grass, and then I'm going to come up here. You don't have to rename it. I just like to do it. So I have grass. And what I want to do to grass is I want to go to... Am I still on the grass? Yeah. I want to go down here, and I want to go to the yellow component of the green grass, for a way to say it. And I'm going to make it brighter. And I'm going to add some saturation to it. Then I'm going to go to the green component of the green grass, and I'm going to make it darker. So I'm adding some tonal variance to the grass. And you can see that what I did. Now, if I want to see a before after, there's a little eyeball here. If I click on this eyeball, there's before. And there's after. There's before, and there's after. Now, if I want to go back in and readjust the sky mask, just go down here where I have my AI mask sky. Click on that, and let's say I just want to bring exposure down a little bit on that. So I can come back in and readjust these. And this is where it helps naming them, because it will help you keep track of what each mask is part of this scene. Now let's go to another image. I want to show you some other ways you could add submasks and whatnot. So we'll go to this image here of the flowers and the bee. And as before, I did some global adjustments. Specifically, I just did selective tone to this image, and I cropped it. I did a rather robust crop. I cropped it in really tight to the bee and the flowers. Okay. Now, let's do some masking. So we're going to go over to local adjustments, and we're going to go to the AI mask again in local adjustments, which is right here. And then we're going to go to this drop down, and you can see that there is an option for flowers. So let's pick on that. And you could see that it's picked 2 of the 3 flowers. It didn't catch that flower up there. I want to add that flower to this mask, so I need to create that submask. So again, we'll go over here and click here. And now I mentioned there's all different ways we could add it with any of these tools down here, but I want to use this tool. This is where I could add an area, and you do that by drawing a rectangular marquee tool, a rectangular marquee over that area. So we'll click on that, and you can see we have this little plus sign. I'm going to come outside of this flower, and then I'm just simply going to click and drag a rectangle or square maybe over that flower, and you can see it's putting the overlay over most of the flower, let go, and you can see I've added now to this mask. And what do I want to do here? Well, I want to go down here and add saturation, and I want to add some contrast to those flowers. Now, let's add another mask. What I want to do is I want to add micro contrast to this part of the flower and the bee. So to do that, I'm going to go to the mode and I'm going to add a selection. I'll hover over this part of the flower and you can see that it's got that part of the flower masked. Click with the left mouse button. And if I go back over here, you can see it's right here. So I'm going to not rename it just because I'm only going to be adding one more submask to this because I want to do micro contrast to this part of the flower and the bee at the same time. So I'm going to click on the submask icon and then we'll hover over the bee and see if we can get this bee added to it. And I did. We'll click on that. Now I have a single mask that is the bee and that part of the flower. And I mentioned that I want to add micro contrast to that. And you can see, I'll just crank it way up or way down. You can see how it's affecting the flower and the bee at the same time, or this part of the flower and the bee. So I think the thing you need to get in the hang of is the submasking, because it's maybe not as like, adding to a mask, subtracting from a mask like Lightroom has. It's a little more like, I guess, obvious. You're going to add to the mask, subtract from the mask. But here you're creating a submask. And you can see that I created a submask by using the rectangular marquee tool or by using the add a selection tool. You could use any of these. So if you're creating a submask, you could come even here and click the conceived masks here so I could add it as well. So it's very easy to do once you get the hang of it. And overall, as I mentioned, PhotoLab 9 is really, really powerful, and it's going to be a bit of a learning curve if you're used to really any other application because it's got some unique tools. I mentioned before that on the other image, I used this DxO Smart Lighting and Clearview Plus. Those are kind of unique to PhotoLab 9. But overall, you could get a really good edit using PhotoLab 9. Now, if you would like me to do more videos on PhotoLab 9, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do it. If there's any other types of videos you want me to do, I'm trying to expand my palette a little bit. Back when I first started doing YouTube videos, I used to do videos on all different types of applications. And I kind of narrowed it down because I was getting way more views on Lightroom and Photoshop. So I was doing a lot more videos on Lightroom and Photoshop. But that's kind of leaving out some people that don't like to use Lightroom and Photoshop. So I'm trying to go back to the way I used to do it, where I am still going to do Lightroom and Photoshop videos, but I'm going to be doing videos on a lot of other different applications as well, including applications like PhotoLab 9, Capture One, and of course I do videos on On1 and Luminar Neo and so on. So that's it for this video. Thank you everyone who watches my videos. I really do appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.